You gotta make the motion first, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yep,
yeah, we gotta make the motion first.
Hi, folks. We're gonna start with our a special town meeting that we first have before our business meeting gets started. We have to elect a moderator for the special town meeting, which we will do with a motion and second from the board.
I'll make a motion. We elect Tom Danlick as moderator.
I'll second that.
Any further nominations? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Thanks, Rachel. Okay, folks, to take up a few housekeeping items quickly. One is I intend to conduct the meeting pursuant to the main moderator's rules, not the Robert's Rules of Order. Secondly, it's likely that the town manager may have to address some answers to some questions anybody might have. As he is not a registered voter here, he cannot speak to the assembly without approval. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right here, I can't hear you.
Is this on?
Yes.
Okay. Secondly, indicated the town manager may want to address the question about the article of consideration, not a registered voter, therefore he cannot speak to this assembly without getting a motion allowing him to speak.
So moved.
Second. Yeah.
Anybody opposed? Motion passed. Okay, then we'll move on to the business of the meeting here, which is part of two. It's on. Huh? Oh. Shall the town vote to authorize the select board to expend up to $507,860 from the undesignated fund balance to cover an error in tax assessment when the mill rate was approved for fiscal year 25-26? Below the article, I assume everybody's got a copy of it out there, is an explanation of why it's necessary to have this article acted upon. I'll entertain a motion to approve Article 2.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Any questions, discussions, anybody? This is on.
Do you have this?
How's this?
Oh,
Wow.
I think they're,
Okay. Anybody have any questions about Article 2? Seeing none, then I'll put it up for the vote. All in favor of passage of Article 2, please indicate by raising your cards. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. Article 2 is adopted. I'll entertain a motion then to adjourn the special town meeting.
So moved.
second.
All in favor? Thank you. Now we're going to move on to our regular select board meeting. Beginning with a call to order, which we start with the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
Yep.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, Because it's a little, the limitation, justice, and problem.
All right, approval of the agenda. Any additions to the agenda? Anybody? Seeing none, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as prepared. Need a second for that?
Yep, second.
All in favor? Motion passes. Approval of the minutes from October 27th of 2025.
I make a motion, we approve as submitted.
I'll second that.
Also, it's been made and seconded to approve them as prepared or submitted. All in favor? They are approved. Next item is public forum. Does anybody have an item they want to call, bring to the attention of the board that is not already on the agenda slated to be discussed?
Can I mention something?
Sure.
At the Veterans Memorial tomorrow at the fire station, there will be a short Veterans Day program starting at 11 o'clock. I'd love to see you all there. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, then we'll move on. We don't have any committee and board reports. Then we'll move on to the manager's report. First item of which is a request for an emergency moratorium.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I was contacted by, I believe she's probably here tonight, Sandy from the Shady Oaks Mobile Home Park, who indicated that the owner of the park was increasing or had given notice to increase their rent for their lot rents in the park. She asked what, if anything, the town of Arundel through the select board could accomplish in order to at least have some sort of redress as a result of what was happening with the owners of the park. I reached out to our town attorney. I've checked our land use ordinance. I've looked at the state statute in reference to moratoriums. And what I've discovered, unfortunately, is that there isn't a lot of effort or a lot of action that this board could take on its own, simply because the statute, I think, number one, doesn't exist for an emergency moratorium unless there's some sort of process and procedure that's done through a annual or special town meeting process. Our ordinance doesn't address emergency moratoriums being affected by the select board in any way. Unfortunately, those types of actions locally, I do not believe exist for this town to, for the select board to act. What I did find in my research, and I think when I spoke to Sandy on the phone and sort of alluded to it, there's a process that was enacted, I believe, this year, which provides property folks that live in these lots to address their issues through getting at least 51% of the lot people signing a petition to have this considered, and then the owners of the mobile home park then have to begin a process of mediation for the lot owners to address their grievances and their issues related to it. And so that, I believe that process has begun. And so I'm not quite sure if there's anything else we can do. I did say to Sandy that folks should be welcome to come here to this evening and provide some whatever concerns they have relative to the notices they've received, so this board can understand fully the circumstances that you're all up against. So that's basically what I have to report on this tonight. I'm not sure if I have anything else at the.
Chip, did you have a question?
I've got a couple of questions. In the portion of Title 10 that you provided us. Can't hear you. You can't hear me? I've got the microphone right in front of me.
Yeah.
You can't hear that? Okay, sorry. In the portion of Article 10, Part 11, Chapter 953 that the town manager provided to us, it speaks of the lot increase being above the allowed rent increase. What is that a state cap on the rent increase, and what is the allowed rent increase? Is question number one. Question number two is, what percentage increase is the owner of the Shady Oaks Mobile Home Park asking for?
I can't answer. I'm sure that maybe Sandy can shed some light on question 2 of that issue. But question 1 of it, if you look at the statute, that it says the average lot calculated pursuant to this paragraph increased by 1% above the consumer price index for the Northeast region or its successor index as published by the State Department of Labor. So when I read that, it's 1%. But I'm not an attorney, so I can't definitively say those things, but I read it and that's what it says to me.
I read that as being 1% above the CPI. And I don't know what the CPI is right now. If the representative of these people can come forward and speak to that and to.
Why don't you
Sure,
come
come on up, Sandy, and
identify
just
yourself.
sit right there. That microphone should pick you up. If you can pull it closer to you. It should pick up.
That is, the 1% thing is in the
Why
book.
don't you identify yourself first? Yeah.
Dorsky, I live in Shady Oaks. Do I need anything else?
No, that's okay. Now go ahead.
There is that 1% thing, but there's also something else in our state bylaws, and I haven't been able to find it, but I did read it once, that says, yes, there's that 1%, but there's also a certain percent you're allowed to go up each time. And that's the percent that's too big for most people, because it may be equal to the mill rate or whatever that rate is for the country or our county. But for people on fixed income, going up that much, that doesn't work. So even though it might be comparable to things in the area, if this is what you're used to paying, going up that much is just not doable for a lot of people. And I don't know that you have anything in your bylaws, but I know that Saco just did it. And I know they're a city, not a town, but they did an emergency thing. They didn't have anything in place and got just until December 31st, just so that we can go, because they're owned by the same company owns their park and our park. And they got the same rent increase notice, and they're bigger. They're like 200 people and we're like 70 something. But they got an emergency moratorium too. Their town was able to help them.
What town was that?
Saco's.
Awesome.
It's Blue Haven Mobile Home Park is the one. It was just on the news this morning.
Oh, it was? Yeah.
Yep. Channel 6 News.
Anybody else have any questions?
What is the percentage increase that the owner is imposing?
It's different because people that have been living in the park for 20 years, they started like $200-300. And I have now, thanks to one of our residents, I have the rate increases were generally $15 to $20 per year. And then when we got bought, there was a big increase, and now there's going to be a bigger increase. And we're not getting anything more for it. The tax rates haven't gone up. They don't do anything. Our lawns look like crap because they don't let us water them. They're not incurring any extra expenses for them to go up like this. And also December 1st, right before Christmas. Like, they're not very nice.
Anybody else? Yeah, Dan?
So Keith, if Saco was, how is Saco allowed to get a moratorium if they don't have anything in their ordinance?
Well, good question. We're discussing among attorneys, the ones that I've spoken to, that they don't know how they have the authority to do that. I'm not quite sure what their bylaws say, or if they have anything within their ordinance provisions that provides them the ability to do that. In our case, we would, if we wanted emergency ordinance, we'd have to go to a process, a public hearings. We'd have to have a special or an annual town meeting, get the voters to decide whether we want it. It'd be 180-day notice, I believe, before it would go into effect. So there's a lot of procedural pieces, and the issue that I have with that is whether or not the moratorium would be legal. Because if I read the statute, it talks about development, more so on housing and or what it would impact on town services as a result of it. And that's not the case here, unfortunately. What's occurring for these folks. So that's all I know at this point, Dan. And I did speak to the town attorney about that, and that was her recollection of it as well.
Something else you want to present?
No, I was just trying to see, thought I had something in here. I don't have the letter with me that accompanied the petition, but it does have something in there about a statute that says that raising it this much, though, is pattern of excessive increases which predates LD 1723 is precisely the scenario the law was created to address and prevent. The substantial and repeated rent hikes are placing an undue financial burden on many residents, threatening the affordability and stability of our community. And also, in addition, like the emergency, the 180 days deletes the emergency, because the emergency needs to happen like now for us to do it for December 1st.
I do have a copy of their, and I didn't know if I put it in your packet or not, but there's a copy here, and I can send it down, Dan, if you want to take a look at what was approved by the city of Saco in reference to this.
When did they notify you of an increase?
I'm sorry?
When did they notify
They
you?
notified us, I believe, it was in August, and we had until, I believe, December 1st to request mediation.
And have you requested
Yes,
mediation?
I have certified mail. I've got my receipt here and everything.
Has a date been set yet for that?
No. I still have to figure out how to find a mediator.
You have to find a
Well,
mediator?
They said that we should find one that we mutually agree on, and based on their dealings in the past, I would be a little suspect of whatever one they presented to me. So I'd like to have some mediators to present to them and that are fair.
I think there's a list of mediators. Now, I'll try to find it. I think there's folks that do that for you. So Sandy, I'll get that and make sure that you get a copy of it. So at least that way you can contact some of these folks and see if, sure. As I understand, and maybe Tom can fill it in a little bit more about the mediation process in terms, both parties have to agree to who the mediator is going to be?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
all the time.
And I believe in this case, the mediator and their services will be paid for by the
By
the
them.
lot owners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also think that some of our residents wanted to talk too.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. That's what it's open for. Whoever does want to talk, please come up and sit down at the table and introduce yourself and then tell us what you would like to discuss with us. Thank you.
So, so Keith, it does look like Saco used what was formerly LD 1723. That's what it looks like. There's an enactment of a state law, an act to amend the laws governing manufacturing housing communities to prevent excessive rent increases. Looks like that's what they used to put this emergency moratorium. I don't know what that LD 1723 is, but
Could it be the, what precipitated the law that's now that's on the books?
I don't know. It says formerly LD, so I'm
Okay.
not sure if something superseded that, for that, Chip.
Ma'am, would you identify yourself?
My name is Margaret Quinn. I live at 11 Debbie Lane in Shady Oaks. Been there just about 9 years. And I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. As Sandy stated, normally the lot fees would go up. It was around $20, $30 a year. It was family owned previously. So the LLC came in and bought it. And they increased it some for newcomers. New people that moved in were paying this $650. Others, I assume we were grandfathered, but I'm not certain why we still were paying. I was paying like $4 something. So this increase for me is 24%. If that gives you an idea, because the CPI and the 1% is still only 4.5%.
Yeah, so Margaret, what you're saying is that your rent's gonna go from 4.25 to 6 something?
Yep.
Is that what they're proposing to you?
I think
All right,
it's
so-
475. I have a pet fee.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll
So
give
folks who are the-
675,
Okay.
$30 a month.
And so there are people that may have been in there early, now are in there, just came in maybe a couple months ago. Theirs is already up to over $600. But
Yeah,
the other
so-
folks that have been there for a long time are really gonna get struck. Okay.
Right. So I just wanted to clarify
Good.
that. And I believe as well as Saco, Sanford also got a moratorium. I'm
Okay.
not certain, but because I read it on
Okay.
the internet, I'm not sure which site I was on. Okay?
It's just that the one in Saco, they almost too, they don't have enough by the morning. So that just a few towns have been doing this because all of our shaders that are buying the piece and just acting all the things that
Thank you.
Just to
The
clarify,
housing price is worse.
you're talking about a monthly rent.
Pardon?
You're talking about a monthly rent.
Month.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
And it might be sustainable for a little bit. Long run.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Anyone else?
That's awful.
Step up, sir.
I live at 9 Shady Lane. What she just told you is an example of the staggered rents that they have been. When my wife and I bought our place back in 2021, and they told us how much the land rent was gonna be, back then it was 500. We didn't know that it wasn't 500 for everybody. Some people, like the woman that was here before me, paying 440. Others were paying more than what we were paying. And so what the new landowners want to do now is they just want to make everybody the same flat rate, 660. And for those that are paying, like for my wife and I, it'll be an increase of 120 when we've only had increases of $20 or $30 a year from the previous owners. Now that's manageable. But to have it increase 120 and then have them say that, well, next year it's gonna go up again. If they were willing to jack up the rents as much as they did this year, how much are they gonna do it next year? It's not, it's just not right. I mean, my wife and I had to buy a place where there were no stairs, nice flat, because I can't handle stairs. And I'm sure that there are other people that have the same situation. I'm on Social Security. I'm lucky that my wife is still working. But, you know, you got to take into consideration, I'm sorry, I hate to be grouchy about it, but this is just a grab, you know, from folks out in California. It's happening all over the state, from what I understand, in talking to other mobile home parks. There's a mobile home park up in Bowdoin where their owners now are from New York, and they've jacked up their rents. And they got their town to, you know, put a moratorium on, while they have to give them more time to do what we're doing here with the mediations. And that's all we're asking, is just to give us time, because December 1st is coming up quick, and that's when the rents are supposed to go up. Thank you for your time.
Sure.
Frank?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
My name's Carol Gil Blair, and I live in Shady Oaks Mobile Home Park. I just had my 40th anniversary of living there, September 7th. I moved there in September 7th of 1985. I lived on the first side for a while, and then we bought a double wide and moved to the other side of the park. But it's the same park. So our first lot rent was $85.
Mhm.
And so it was owned by the same people. So up until they decided to sell it to this California company, the highest lot rent was, which was like 25, 30 years worth, it was $385 when they sold it to the California company, which was just maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So since that California company bought our mobile home park, it's gone from $385 and each year gone higher and higher. So we got the letters stating that depending on where you are, everybody has to get to 660. So in order for me to get to 660, they're going to add, I have to pay $135 more a month to make it 660. So everybody's is different depending on like what they said. A lot of people that live in this mobile home park, we live there because we can't afford a house, or we can't afford even a rent of apartments because those are expensive too. And then we've discovered that there's this California company that for some reason wants to buy mobile home parks, and they're making a lot of money from us, which doesn't make sense to me. We're just mobile home park. Why do they, that they're buying them all, you know, Saco, Old Orchard, the same ones, the same company is doing it. And so then a friend was figuring it out. They are making millions of dollars from people paying lot rent in a mobile home park. We have 70 mobile homes in our park. The ones further up, they have like 200 and more, you know, in like Saco, Old Orchard, and further up in Maine. It's the same company that's doing it. It doesn't make sense that they want to come in and do this to us. And most people that live there live paycheck to paycheck, and we're on Social Security. I'm 66 years old, and my lot rent's gonna go up to $660 a month. That's a lot of money just for lot rent. And that's why we're all coming to you guys, because we don't know what to do. They're just plowing us down. They don't care about us. They don't even know us, and they don't care to get to know us. It's their rules. My son and my daughter were living with me, and then they moved out, and my son needed to move back in with me because he didn't have a place to live. He had to go through a background check and all this and pay $50 a month, and he could only stay for 3 months. And he was born there and lived there all his life, but he had moved out on his own and couldn't afford to have his own apartment. So in order for him to move back in, he had to do a criminal background check and all this, and he was born in the park and lived there, you know, up until it was time for him to, he lived in Arundel. He graduated from here. He's both of my children, and they don't really care about us. Because I tried calling them to talk to them, and they said, this is the rule, you have to follow it, and we don't care what's happening in your life. If you have to go live in a tent in Sanford because you don't have a place to live, it'll teach you how to be, it'll teach you how to get, that's what he said. It'll teach you how to live and be able to, even though he was okay to go live in a tent in Sanford. So, and these are the people we've been dealing with since Debbie and Norman sold it to the California company. They have a right to do that. And I'm not even sure that Debbie and Norman even realized that that was going to happen to us when they sold it. They still have the newest section that Debbie and Norman haven't sold it. They've kept it. But ours that we all live on, we're in the one that Debbie's mother and parents started, and then Norman and Debbie took it over. And I lived there like 40 years. I just had the anniversary September 7th of living there. And we're all scared. We're all scared because we don't know what's going to happen because we don't have the money. They just keep going higher and higher and higher. We live in a park because we don't have money to live in a house. We live in a park because we don't have, even apartments are more expensive than we can afford. Like, so what are we supposed to do, you guys? We don't know which direction to turn.
Well.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Dolores Miller, live in Park. I really don't know what to say. Most of it has been said, but our rent goes up. Our money doesn't, and there's an awful lot of people that live on Social Security. It's hard as it is right now before December 1st gets here and we have to pay $660. And I do think it's important that we get less for our rent than we got before. I mean, we don't have a person there every day. We used to. We had two there every day, Norm and his worker. Now we get someone who he's a really nice guy, do not get me wrong. Josh is there 2.5 days, not usually a week. But when you've got things that are going wrong and a tree coming down, you need somebody that's closer. But that's not why we're here. We're here because we can't afford this. We cannot afford this. I don't know what people are gonna do, and I don't know what options we have because we can't afford a rent. And we certainly can't afford a house. Prices are crazy. And I don't know, I guess we really, really need some guidance. What the heck do we do? And how can we fight this? And you have stated that you don't think it's legal to fight, I don't know, but we sure are stuck. Thank you.
Thank you, Dolores. Yeah. I have a question for you, Keith.
Yeah.
What would it take to at least, I know we can't do a moratorium, we've heard from the town attorney, but at least what could we do to start the process to add something like that to the town charter? I know it would be a long process. I mean, it's something that would have to go to a full town meeting, but how would we get it started?
Well, I'll refer to Tom because he sat on 2 charter committees here and he knows the process extremely well. It's very lengthy, but go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, the process, you got to get a charter committee together, look through or evaluate the provision that sought to be either amended or, in this case, perhaps inserted in the charter, and then have obviously hearings on that and ultimately town vote. So, as you know, when all of this It's gonna take time.
But
I
it's
I can't tell you exact time, but
Yeah.
It's certainly doable enough for the next
it's
town
doable,
meeting.
but, and you won't get it done before
No,
number one, folks.
no, but they have the mediation process that
Right.
they're doing, right? So that in itself should help out.
Mm.
And maybe we can put something in place so that they don't have to go through this again next year.
Mm.
Right?
Gotcha.
May I ask a question of Sandy? Maybe you know this answer. Have the other mobile home parks, particularly the one in Saco, have they started their process mediation? And have they had any meetings yet? Do you know?
Or not a mediation, but where the residents can ask them questions.
Sure.
You're not asking residents questions. So I think that was, they're doing that before the mediation.
Okay, all right.
I talked today and I asked her what their next steps are. We just saw it this morning that they got a moratorium until December 31st.
The reason I asked the question is just to see if you knew how their mediation process was going and in terms of what the mediator was, as they gather this information, if there was any thoughts about what their determination was going to be in terms of this lot increase rental that is being proposed.
Things is going on and they're working towards that is the owners want to sell. So they're working with trying to get the right of first refusal there. I don't know if they're planning on selling our park. I would assume that's why the rental increase was where it's sort of attractive to buyers.
I see.
And then someone else buys us and Jackson, oh, yeah, there has to be a limit somewhere because there's gonna be a lot more homeless people.
And they all own their own homes.
Keith,
Mm.
it,
Nah,
it,
yeah,
it,
no,
is there,
you guys all own your own homes.
is there anything that either staff of the town or the town attorney might be able to do to facilitate getting that mediation started? It sounds like clearly that's not the idea. It's not a solution, but it's better than nothing.
Well, I'm wondering, maybe this is just a general question, maybe to Tom more than anybody else, simply because of his position. But when mediation starts, Tom, does everything freeze? I know they're proposing these lot increases, but because the mediation is going to begin and they've earnestly got the 51%, do they just hold everything until the mediation is concluded? Or
If that's agreed to,
unless it's agreed
it
to?
has to be agreed to.
I see. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Here in,
Want to identify yourself?
out here,
Tell us who you are first.
Pen,
State
name?
Name.
Judith White.
Okay.
Thank you. Hearing them talking and whatnot, a thought that came to my mind is, what if somebody does need to sell? Okay, so now you've got somebody who's trying to sell their place and the rent has been skyrocketed up on them. That's not gonna be attractive to wannabe people who wanna come into our park and live there. So, you know, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. What do? You know, I mean, there's gotta be a mediation here somewhere, you know, where everybody can be civilized and get things done. You know.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, I certainly think that there's, something that can be done, not right away for this, but, lot rent increase. I mean, places like Portland has done that for just regular rents, and I'm sure that other towns or cities have looked at lot rent increases for mobile homes. So, I mean, whether it takes a charter change or whatever, I certainly think that we need to move forward with that to make sure that this doesn't happen again next year. Right? Because, yeah, I just, and I don't know if this mediation thing will kind of help them out in the interim. but I certainly be interested to find out, dig a little deeper as to how Saco was able to do what they were able to do.
In their local government, in which, the governor was on one of their meetings, and they've been very, very open and giving me every information they have, so anything you need.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's something that Henry or even Wayne can help us out with too, so.
I know Henry was, instrumental in the Chaco theory, I don't know exactly, but I do remember his.
Who's that?
Ingersoll?
Yeah, he's one of our local representatives. And Wayne Perry is another one, and maybe it's something they can help out with.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, I'm Brenda Hamill. I've been living in the park for 13 years and not sure you know just how much the lot fee has gone up in 1 year. $170 in 1 year is what it's gone up. There is nothing included in that. They do not pick up our trash. They do not cut our grass. They do not plow our driveways. And up until this fall, we had someone who was cutting our grass and he retired. So now each homeowner has to find someone to do their grass unless they can do it themselves and plow their driveways. The other thing is, we're just talking about how much the lot fee has gone up. It's gone up a lot, but that doesn't take into effect that we all have mortgages besides. I have a mortgage. And up until 2 years ago, I was working 3 jobs to survive. And now with this added, it's gonna make it very much harder. And they do not answer. You call them, they do not return your calls. I had a tree touching my trailer. I had to pay someone to come and cut that tree off of my trailer so it wouldn't destroy my trailer. So there's a bigger picture to it all where, you know, there's so much involved in it.
Anybody else, folks?
I'm Deborah Thompson. I've lived in that park for 27 years, and as everyone has stated, nothing is getting done with these new owners. We're having to pay extra for everything, and unless we have somebody standing behind us, like a panel of all of you, they're going to become our slumlords. And they're going to do nothing for the money that we are paying. I'm not quite retired yet, but now I have to rethink my retirement plan. So I feel for everybody who is retired. I can still work full time, but that's not the case for most people in the park. And unless we get you to stand behind us somehow, some way, and not let these people from California do this to us, and the whole state, as some have shared, if you look into it, $900 somewhere in Sanford. I haven't done my research, so I apologize for that. But we've got to have somebody stand behind us. These are just slumlords who have $1 million homes sitting out in California, probably. I haven't done my research, but this is how upsetting it is for all of us. We're going to have to slowly leave. And how can we leave? Like Gwen said, how can I sell my home? This is my second home in this park. I regret it now. I wished I would have worked harder to either go rent somewhere or something else different now, because now I have a mortgage and now they're putting up the lot rent to this extent. It's outrageous and we need your help. Thank you.
Anyone? Okay, then, thanks for all the input. We'll see what we can, you mediator. As I said, Keith's going to provide you with some
I'm going to
names.
provide Sandy a list of mediators that I can come up with. And you can present them as well to the the property owners. So hopefully you can come to some sort of mutual decision upon that.
For this emergency, we're gonna need to have the people behind us, because like you said, they're gonna run over us. I'm sure they're gonna bring lawyers and all sorts of stuff to the mediation, and we can afford that.
If you get the right mediator, they won't allow that to happen.
Right.
That's what the neutral is there for, okay?
Yeah.
They'll be sure that there isn't any untoward activities or people trying to bully people. That's why they have mediation.
Yep.
And if you can't find one, you can go to the State of Maine judicial site, and they've got a whole list of mediators there as well.
Yep.
Anything else, folks, on this? Yes, ma'am. You want to come up?
It's February, and every year, we had to pay to be snowplowed, we had to pay to have these fit, and we complain, and nothing's done. They charge us a snowplow, and they charge us to pick up leaves. Now they don't put anything. And we don't even know if there's gonna be somebody on the road in the park.
Okay.
That's terrible. They're trying to pull us out of the park. That's
But the company that are Onyx Capital is a mortgage company. They're in the business of making money. On their website, you can see an article that says, invest in mobile home parks, because you can invest $1 million, make $1 billion.
Oh.
Just want to say it.
Simone,
State senator,
I think somebody just mentioned Henry's been involved.
Well, I certainly have some marching orders
Right.
here that I obviously, I'll reach out to our state representatives and see what kind of action they can bring about. I'll get that list of mediators to you. I'll look up the LD 1728 as Dan referenced. I'm not quite sure if that mirrored this Title 10 that we referenced tonight. So I'll take a look at that and let you know what I find out.
LD 1723.
Is it 1723 or
I
1720?
think that's what it was, 1723.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, thanks, Tom. I had been, I want to be looking at the
That
wrong
looks like that's
statute.
what Saco used to.
Saco used the charter provision.
Hmm?
Saco used their charter provision,
Oh, Saco has a charter provision in their charter?
right?
Oh.
According to the emergency ordinance here, based upon city charter section 2.10.
Yeah, which we don't have
We
in our
don't have
charter.
Okay, can we get a copy of that language, please?
I'm not sure if I put it in your packet tonight. If not, I'll make sure I get one to you.
And the other thing is, when you talk to Henry or Wayne, what can we do, from like an ordinance perspective? Is there something that we can do from an ordinance perspective going forward to protect something, like all of these complaints? I don't know if there's anything that can be done, but all of these complaints of, snow plowing and lawn mowing or whatever. Sometimes like they have agreements in subdivisions, right? They have a homeowners association in subdivisions. Somebody has to take care of this, somebody has to take care of that. Is there something that maybe we can put in the ordinance that for mobile home parks, they have to have a company or somebody like that to take care of that? I don't know if we can do that or
Yeah,
not.
I'm not sure what they have in language in their lot rental agreements that you have with this company. If you could share one with me, that'd be great.
That's what I'm coming to say right now.
Oh, okay, great.
Hi, my name is Mike Buthelot. I live at 28 Shady Lane. And you know me for a long time. I don't mix words with anything and, I'm gonna tell it like it is. I called California and I asked them, according to your letter, we have an HOA. Well, who is the representative of our HOA at Shady Oaks Mobile Park? He couldn't answer. And I says, where's our meeting house that we can have meetings amongst the community? We don't have that. But how can you charge us an HOA if it's not there? You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't seem right. It seems like that's something that's not too legal. We can't discuss anything amongst ourselves or have meetings amongst ourselves to see what's going on within the park, who's running it, who's gonna run it, what the lot fees are, what are we getting for our money? Because all of our lawns are in horrible shape and they don't do anything except plow the road in the winter. And that's all I've seen. I've been there for 5 years now. And it's crazy how much they're gonna jump the fees. I'm one of the ones that started with a lower fee and now it's gonna be almost like within 5 years, like $400 jump almost. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And then they won't stop. And he had no answers for me when I asked him about, okay, where can we have a meeting at? Who's our representative from the park? And he couldn't even answer. He was just silent. And I go, well, I think you picked the wrong guy to be silent with.
Well, I think I can express, if you folks as a group ever need a place to meet, just reach out to me. We can sort of set up this room. If they had representatives that you could get to come here, feel free to reach out to me. We'll make that happen for you. So you have a place to meet with these folks and ask your questions and have somebody in
I
place.
believe that would be appreciated because we have nothing.
Sure.
And most decent mobile home parks that I know of have a clubhouse, at least something that we can have meetings, we can elect who we want to be our representatives. You know, it'd be like you guys, you know, not having a place to have an election.
Sure.
You know, it's didn't make any sense to me after I got off the phone and I thought about it, and I'm glad everybody else is seeing the same thing that I am. I'm kind of a newcomer in there and I didn't dare say too much because I didn't really know too many people. But hearing tonight what I heard, you know, they're all on board and they're all good people that, you know, live in there. And you take a look at any apartments in Bitterford or Saco or Orchard, they're anywhere from $1,600 to $3,500 a month. Who can afford that? That's more than most people pay for their homes. No? And so obviously we can't just sell our house and go move in an apartment. It would be even more money. You know? So, and I believe the plowing thing for this year, they just sent us out a letter saying they found one guy that can probably do it. Here's his phone number. But what are we supposed to do? Call him on every storm? You know, I don't know exactly how many people are in the park, but can you imagine 70 people trying to call the same guy? I don't know, it's a kind of a cluster mess, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Could we have the, I don't know, whether Keith, whether it would be you or the town attorney, look into it and see if there is a homeowners association in paper, although not active, for this community? But I understand you haven't heard of it, but it's possible that there is, that it was created long ago, but not ever activated.
Yeah, because I've never heard of a representative there, you know what I mean?
I understand, but I'm just thinking if if it turns out that I'm just
It's
spitballing.
possible in the past, they probably maybe had something.
But it's conceivable.
Yeah,
And looking at one of you all's, rental agreement,
yeah.
might point to that.
Yeah, I know.
Took care of everything.
So Keith, is that something
Well,
would be,
well, we certainly can look at the property record folders and see what kind of history we already have on that property.
Well,
There may be some documentations within there that have that, and then we'll get the official address of the people that own it now and maybe make an official inquiry as to what documents, if any, they have that they can share.
and I think if it is possible and appropriate, somebody looking at one of their rental, the land lease, I guess it would be.
Yeah.
I
I just found it strange. When I asked the question, he couldn't even answer it, you know what I mean? And he's supposed to be an owner, I mean. Just sounds a little crazy. All right, everybody, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay, folks, we're gonna move on then to next item on the agenda, which is a report.
Hearing us. Whatever you can do. Thank you.
We have an open door policy. We don't shut people off.
Mm.
Sometimes we let people talk forever, but
Mm.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Appreciate you
thank you.
coming. See, Parks Rules,
Yep.
yeah, can
Good
I
night.
make a copy of this? I will right now. Yep.
I wonder, does Debbie know what's going on? I mean, I know they sold and they're, yeah. No, but they only sold a big part, okay, they took the 55 million. Yeah, yes, I know you looked familiar. Yeah, so I've seen that lady somewhere before. Yeah. Yeah, well, isn't he gonna be, he said something about selling his house and living with you? How's he doing, really? Yeah, well, he did before, even before John left, he had a hard time walking, so. Yeah. Yeah, well, I can't wait for him, I mean, he's just waiting to sell his house, so. Oh, he did? We did have. Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, Bob Duper, you're turning over and it's great. What's going on at that part? Because one of yeah.
hey, folks, you take your conversations outside. We have more business that we need to take care of. Thank you.
You'll see my name tag. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Bob would be turning over in his grave.
Who would be?
Bob Dupree, the guy that started it, Debbie's father. That water was always. Of course, I mean, they're on, I don't know how many wells they have, but that's probably one of the original wells and yeah. So there's no filters or anything. That's what comes out of your faucet? That's what comes out of the faucet, or that's what the well looks like?
Oh, I mean, she came in with this testing, it's like they put it in the big water, they put it in bad water.
Yeah.
Bring all the iron and yeah, so that's her water.
Yeah.
That's our water.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm.
Have a good night.
Yep, you too.
Okay, what do we know about map 10 and lots 5 and 6?
Well, obviously, those are the properties that we were looking at in
Right.
terms of possibly housing in the future. And I've provided to our attorney all of our information relative to deed research for those 2 lots, as well as what the status of the right-of-way, Bergeron Drive. And they said it will take a while, but they'll get back to me in reference to that information as soon as they can. I reached out to Larissa Crockett down at the Neighborhood Housing Trust just to keep her informed as to what we're attempting to do. After which we can have further discussions relative to any other involvement that we need to have in reference to those lots. So that's where we are. I just wanted to report out to that.
Okay. And we've got some,
I have a,
go ahead, Skip, sorry.
I received an email from the town manager, saying that the board prior to my election had discussed this property and future use of it. And I wanted to ask, not tonight, but at some point in the future, after we get this report from the town attorney back, if we could take 2 steps back in terms of how the lot might be developed or used to have the greatest benefit to the townspeople. For example, just to throw out one spitball idea, I don't know if we ever talked to Habitat for Humanity, but I do know that that's an organization that has done wonderful things across the country to help people who needed housing. And I want to make sure that we've explored all the options that are available, not just the first group to step forward and express an interest.
Okay. Okay, we have some new fire station designs.
Yeah, I provided those to you. I mean, Curtis and Andy sent them to me in reference to the thoughts that were expressed about having apparatus space off the rear of the existing building. With those, when I received those, I just had several questions that I've expressed to Port City, have yet to hear back. Number one, I really, when I look at the drawing, it seems like the rear wall is still erected in the building, and I just wanted to get clarity whether or not they were proposing that the wall stay or the wall removed. So I haven't heard back from that. I think that's significant in terms of looking at that. Because I think the whole focus would be to make sure that if the select board and the committee wish to go this route, then we know for sure what that's going to be. The second piece was when I look at the layout, particularly the impervious soil or driveways and parking areas and apparatus turnarounds and all of that, I'm concerned that we are going to go over the 50% lot coverage that's required by the ordinance. If you recall, we went and had a special ordinance change from 20, I think it was 20% to 50 in order to cover whatever we wanted to do at that particular facility. So I'm concerned, and I've asked them to provide to me, based on that new design, if that exceeds the 50% lot coverage, because as I look at it, it seems like the apparatus now almost up to where the fence line where the folks that live behind us would be. So that's obviously a concern. And finally, I think that we need to get a better handle on the cost associated with it. I know that Andy had expressed that he was looking at 550 a square foot, and we were going to be over closer to a $4 million range in reference to the construction. I've asked them to narrow their focus down and provide to us what the new addition would cost, negate any additional consideration for the existing building until we find out what the new addition is going to cost us. And quite frankly, as I review some of the construction costs in southern Maine, I have to question the 550. I'm not seeing that we're getting close to the 550 mark. I think the highest that I was observing was 400, which would bring us into that $2 million range where I think initially we thought we were going to be. So those are my questions to them. I haven't heard back, but I wanted to express them to you tonight. If there are any other additional questions that you think I need to ask prior to us all coming back to look at these designs, I'd like to be able to ask them to them. That's it.
A couple of things. The having the two bays on the back of the building only would make sense to me if they can be drive-through. If that existing rear wall has to stay in place, this doesn't make any sense to me. However, if it's possible to configure the two bays in a way such that we have pull-through bays, there are some operational benefits to that, operational and safety. The other thing I want to ask is to make sure that we keep in mind the need for a septic system. I'm not clear from this drawing where the property lines are, but if the property lines are the double line in a peculiar shape going around this, there's literally no place for a leach field. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later, regardless of whether we're going out back or to the side, that we get to work on the sanitary disposal, the sewage disposal system on site, and make sure that that's doable and have a cost for it, because that might not be cheap at all. And the last thing I wanted to do, I had a long conversation with Andy that was very productive. But he indicated that and maybe you guys already know this, he indicated that the existing septic system would be retained for the portion on the south side of the building. But when I asked him what the useful life of that system, remaining useful life of it was, he said maybe 20 years. I think that's another question that needs to be looked into to make sure that we're not investing, whether it's $2 million, $3 million, or $4 million into a structure. I think we need to make sure that it's got a useful life of at least 25 or 30 years.
Tom, I have comments.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
Yep. Assuming that is drive-through, pass-through, has the chief looked at this? Have you had any comments to the chief on what his thoughts were on this bay setup?
His only comment was, you know, if you have pull-throughs, I think one of the drawings shows three vehicles behind each other. He says that just doesn't work for us. If we're gonna do that, we should be able to go back to back or pull through. That way, apparatus doesn't have to get moved in order to get a piece out. So that was the issue that he had with the pull-through. My issue, quite frankly, is that I think this exceeds lot, and as I observe it, I think it exceeds the lot coverage. And that's why we initially came up with the first design that we had, that we worked on for months, redesigning, narrowing down the bays what we needed for space, so on and so forth. So, and I think that's the least amount of impact, because the original design took some of the existing parking lot as part of that, so we could negate that as part of the lot, overall new lot coverage that was going. But this one seems like that we're going to exceed it, but.
Yeah, and that additional bay in the back kind of affects the parking area that's there now. So you got to kind of move the
Right.
parking area. And I mean, I honestly, Keith, I think that, we should get the committee back together and make a decision and say, look, which way are we going? Make a decision on which way we're going to go, and then move forward with this. I kind of going back and forth, waiting for them. I think we need to drive this and get this moving.
I have no problems with driving it. I think that the lot coverage piece, I think, is very important, and I think that may end the conversation immediately.
Yeah.
If the lot coverage is.
I mean, they can probably play around with the lot coverage on parking. I mean, they've got this road all the way around here, and, maybe some parking can be done in the front here or what have you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Got a notice from the DEP regarding the landfill on the Witten Hill Road.
Yeah, obviously I wanted to share that, folks, with you, reference to the closed landfill that the town had. I think probably Phil can probably, and Velma can probably fill us in. It's probably been there since was there in the 60s and 70s, in Kennebunkport off Witten Hill Road. And once it's been closed, we ultimately still have responsibility to groundwater issues related to it. So the DEP is indicating to us that they're going to put us on notice that a step-out investigation is necessary to determine the PFAS contamination within that site. What I've taken the liberty to do is St. Germain Environmentals is the company that does our monitoring of our existing landfill. I've asked them to get involved in this one as well, to try to help us and guide us through this process. I think there's funding that's available as long as it gets approved by the DEP to assist in this whole process. So I think we wait to see what St. Germain's provides to us and what other processing we have to do in order to stay in compliance with the DEP regulations. But I'm sure the Phil or Velma can sort of fill us in on this landfill out there a little bit more than I can.
We used to go there, put down equipment and take care of it. they just cover it up and there wasn't that much trash going there to begin with. So I don't, I wouldn't see a lot of hazardous material in there.
Yeah. I know it must have been back in the nineties that that the town took some remediation action down there, removed some other items that had been buried, moved those out. So and if I go on the website and I plug in the landfill code number, it provides all the documentations that have ever been communicated on this property, including I picked up a newspaper article back in 1960, August of 1960 of what was going on there. So it was kind of interesting as well.
So a while back, I had a discussion with Henry about PFAS in private wells. And, I had asked about if there's funding for testing for individuals. And if I recall correctly, the state, you initially you have to pay for it, but if there anything that has to be done, he said there was a fund from the state to cover that.
So they have it in the back here. It says Arundel made contact with a consultant to perform the PFAS sampling reporting, and DEP will reimburse Arundel for associated and pre-approved costs. So once we get a plan together, and I think that's what I'm asking St. Germain to have a conversation with me, then we'll send that proposal to the DEP. If they sign off on it, then I think our costs are covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cost will be covered for any mediation for those wells that are existing there today, right? For
Well,
future.
I think it may end up, it may be, I'm not quite sure, and that will be some of the questions I'll ask. I don't know if we have to have the same relationship that we do with some of the property owners off of Bergeron Drive, where they have filtration, monitoring systems. We monitor their water. We
But-
take care of
But that's at our cost.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thought the way Henry talked, because of PFAS, the state has funding for that where they pick up the cost.
Well, we'll see.
So we,
Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah.
Okay. But I just want to put that on your radar, because I'm sure that we'll have further discussions as this unfolds a little bit more. I did notify the town of Kennebunk Port that we received this letter. I provided a copy to them so they understand what's going on and how we're proceeding at this point.
Any other questions about that, folks?
No, except that this list of property owners shows that they own property, physical town in Kennebunk.
Yeah, I think they ran out of space.
Ran out
They
of
should
space,
say
couldn't
port.
put the port, yeah.
Okay, we've got a payable and a payroll warrant.
So move.
Second,
All in favor? Moved. Anything else anybody have? Have at it, Dan.
fence at the fire station. When's that going in? Is that gonna get in before the ground freezes?
It's funny you asked that. They contacted me last week, and they said, are we supposed to wait until the construction's done? And I said, no. So they're putting it on their work schedule to get done.
Okay.
So that's the last I heard.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Anything else, anybody? Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn at 8:22 PM.
All in favor? We are out.